Mahamri is a very popular side dish in the coastal region of Kenya, and it's served for breakfast, brunch, lunch, or even dinner, which makes it very versatile. So today I'm going to be showing you how to make mahamris, but with a twist by adding in some sesame seeds. Grab yourself the ingredients listed in the description box and let's make this simple and easy sesame mahamri. In your mixing bowl, you're going to be adding in 10 grams of instant yeast. Then next, you're going to add in some cardamom powder, which is going to add in a very nice flavor to our mahamri. Add in some sugar to add in a little bit of sweetness to the mahamri and some all-purpose flour. Using a whisk, you're going to whisk in all the dry ingredients until fully combined. This is going to take around 30 seconds. Don't use any self-raising flour because the recipe calls for all-purpose flour. Now it's time to add in my wet ingredients, and I have an egg which I'm going to crack into our bowl and 1 cup of milk. Using my whisk, I'm going to whisk in the wet ingredients together with the dry until a dough is formed, and that is going to take around 30 seconds. Then I'm going to go in with my hands. Make sure all the dry ingredients are getting fully combined with the wet by scraping the bottom of my bowl. If your dough is super wet, sprinkle in with some extra all-purpose flour and knead for around 3 to 4 minutes until you get a soft and elastic dough. And if your dough is dry, add in a tablespoon of milk at a time until you have a soft dough. When it comes to yeast, make sure your yeast is fresh because you want the dough to double up in size after mixing up everything until a dough is soft. So if you happen to have some yeast that you have stored for a very long time, make sure to add in some sugar to a small bowl and a little bit of water. Add in your yeast, and once you notice that there is no bubbling on top, the yeast is not fresh. I'm going to add in a tablespoon of cooking oil. Go in with my hands and knead the dough for another 1 to 2 minutes. After kneading your dough for around 5 to 6 minutes, it's nice and stretchy and not sticky at all. And I've added around 2 tablespoons of more all-purpose flour because my dough was a little bit sticky. So right now it's perfect to rest. So I'm going to add in a teaspoon of cooking oil to my dough, and then I'm going to spread all around. This is to avoid the dough from drying while it's resting. I'm going to make sure I tuck my dough, and then I'm going to cover with a kitchen towel and rest for around an hour. And because it is cold outside, it's going to be very hard for my dough to double up in size. So I'm going to thaw my dough inside the oven so that it can help me double up the dough or rest the dough for around an hour until double up in size. After 1 hour, my dough has doubled up in size. Just look at that. You'll notice that it has so many air pockets. So I'm going to punch in the middle to remove the excess air in the dough. Then I'm going to transfer to my countertop. I'll sprinkle in a little bit of flour. Place my bowl aside, and then I'm going to knead for around 2 minutes. After kneading my dough for 1 minute, the next step is to cut the dough into 5 pieces. So using my cake scraper, I'm going to evenly divide my dough. This is 4 pieces. Then I'm going to shape my dough by tucking in the bottom side until I have a very nice smooth surface. Place aside. Repeat until I'm done. As you're rolling the dough, make sure they are the same size, just like mine. And the next step is to place the sesame seeds on our dough. So over here I have half a cup of sesame seeds, and this is how sesame seeds look like if you've never come across sesame seeds. And I have a 1/4 cup of water. So you're going to pick your dough just like this. Make sure it's smooth on the surface. Then you're going to place on the water. This is to make the dough wet. And then you're going to transfer to your sesame seeds. Pat a little bit so that the sesame seeds can fully cover the top of the dough, just like this. And then I'm going to keep aside and then finish off with the rest of the dough. Once fully covered, just like this, you are done with placing the sesame seeds on the dough. So I'm going to keep my plates aside. And the next step is to add in some cooking oil to a frying pan. And I'm going to be deep frying my mahamri. So I'm going to place my pan over medium high flame and add in 4 cups of cooking oil. As your cooking oil is getting hot, the next step is to roll out our dough. So I'm going to pick my piece of dough, sprinkle in with some extra all-purpose flour on my countertop, just like this. And then I'm going to carefully roll out the dough. Make sure the rolling pin and your bench or working surface is well floured. Then you're going to carefully spread out the dough. So I'm going to move vertically and horizontally until I have half an inch dough. It is really important to make sure that the dough is evenly spread. So that is what I'm doing. And once the dough is perfectly round, you're going to use a pizza cutter or a knife and cut the dough in half, just like this, and into quarters. Once you're done cutting your dough, you're going to move over to check on your cooking oil by inserting a skewer. Once you notice bubbling, the oil is ready. So I'm going to carefully transfer in my sesame mahamri. And then using a skimmer, you're going to try and separate the mahamri as they fry. Always, whenever you're frying, don't overcrowd, because once you overcrowd, the temperature of the oil is going to drop and then you're going to have some soggy mahamris. You're going to fry your mahamri for around 1 minute per side, and then they're going to turn out very gorgeous because they're going to be having a golden brown color. My mahamri I've already puffed up, so I'm going to pick another piece of dough very quickly, and then I'm going to be rolling out. As you can see, my dough is doubling up in size, which is very awesome. So I'm going to make sure my rolling pin and surface is well floured and quickly roll out my dough. This is the first round of my mahamri and they're looking so good. So I'm going to transfer to a plate lined with kitchen towel, and then I'm going to place in my next round. My sesame mahamris have turned out so perfect. As you can see, the top has a very nice gorgeous brown color, and you will notice that the sesame seeds are just popping. So I'm going to pick one. I still have some more over here, and then I'm going to be splitting in the middle. And once you cut your mahamri in half, this is how it's going to be looking. As you can see, the inside is hollow and a little bit meatier, just how I love my mahamri. So I'm going to give my mahamri a bite. Once you bite into your mahamri, it's a little bit sweet, and there's a very nice taste from the sesame seeds, which are also fried in the cooking oil. So the mahamris are just so good. Adding some sesame seeds to your mahamri will add a twist that is so good once you present the mahamris to your family, and everyone is going to enjoy each and every bite. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you'll be trying out this easy and simple sesame mahamri recipe.